The Plague of Athens. The very first recorded pandemic in human history began in 430 before the Common Era, during the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta. A mysterious disease, possibly typhoid fever, swept through the overcrowded city. According to Greek historian Thucydides, the illness started in Ethiopia, moved through Egypt and Libya, and finally reached Athens by sea. People in good health were all of a sudden attacked by violent heats in the head and redness and inflammation in the eyes, wrote Thucydides, who caught the disease and survived. It killed over one-third of the Athenian population, including their leader, Pericles. Symptoms included fever, ulcers, and uncontrollable diarrhea. With no medicine, the Athenians burned their dead in mass pyres. The disease helped tip the war in Sparta's favor and marked one of the first instances where a bacteria changed the fate of a civilization. The Antonine Plague. Next came the Antonine Plague, brought back from the east by Roman legions. Historians believe it was smallpox. It started in Mesopotamia, spread through Asia Minor, then reached Rome, killing nearly 5 million people, including Emperor Lucius Verus. Symptoms: high fever, skin eruptions, and internal bleeding. Galen, the famous Roman physician, documented the outbreak, noting those who recovered often had their skin fall off like scales. The Roman army and economy were severely weakened. Some scholars argue that the Antonine Plague started the long decline of the Roman Empire. The Plague of Justinian. This pandemic emerged from Central Asia, spread by trade routes into Egypt, and exploded in Constantinople. It was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, carried by fleas on rats. The same bacteria would later cause the Black Death. Over 50 million people died, nearly half of Europe's population at the time. Emperor Justinian I caught the plague but survived. Procopius, a historian in Constantinople, wrote, "Bodies lay unburied in the open. People died faster than they could be buried. To bury the dead, the Byzantines dug massive trenches, filled them with bodies, and poured quicklime over them. The empire never truly recovered from the demographic collapse." The Black Death. The most infamous pandemic in human history. It started in the steppes of Central Asia, traveled via the Silk Road to Crimea, and from there aboard Genoese merchant ships to Italy. Within 4 years, it swept across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. The cause of the disease was again Yersinia pestis, but this time it was even more deadly. Symptoms: black buboes, fever, vomiting, and death within days. Estimated death toll: 75 to 200 million. Italian writer Boccaccio recalled, "Fathers abandoned children, wives their husbands. One brother the other bodies were left to rot in the streets. Entire towns vanished. In Florence, half the population died. In Paris, bodies were thrown into the Seine River. Doctors wore bird-like plague masks stuffed with herbs." The Black Death reshaped European society, accelerating the end of feudalism and boosting wages for survivors. The Cocoliztli Epidemics. From 1545 to 1576, a mysterious disease devastated indigenous populations in Mexico shortly after the arrival of Spanish conquistadors. Called Cocoliztli, meaning pest in Nahuatl, it was likely a viral hemorrhagic fever worsened by drought and colonial disruption. Symptoms included bleeding from eyes, mouth, and nose. Death toll: over 15 million Native Americans. Spanish friar Bernardino de Sahagún wrote, "So many died that it was impossible to bury them all. The stench of death filled the air." European diseases like measles, smallpox, and influenza also contributed, wiping out up to 90% of some indigenous communities. The epidemics allowed Spain to conquer and colonize the region with little resistance. The Third Plague Pandemic. Originating in Yunnan, China, it spread to Hong Kong, India, South America, and San Francisco. The pandemic killed over 12 million people, mostly in India. For the first time, scientists identified Yersinia pestis under the microscope. In Bombay, a British official wrote, "We buried them in carts. There was no time for names, no time for funerals." British authorities enforced quarantines and burned infected neighborhoods. This era marked the birth of modern bacteriology and public health systems. The Spanish flu. A virus deadlier than any war. It started in Kansas, USA, not Spain, and spread rapidly via World War I troop movements. It reached Europe, Asia, Africa, and even remote Pacific islands. In just 2 years, it infected 500 million people, nearly a third of the global population. Estimated deaths: 50 to 100 million. Young adults aged 20-40 were hit hardest, a pattern unique among pandemics. In Philadelphia, one nurse recalled, "We ran out of coffins in a week. People were burying family in their backyards. Hospitals overflowed, and cities ran out of coffins. Masks became mandatory in public. The world had no vaccine, no antivirals, and no cure." The swine flu. First identified in Mexico, the H1N1 virus was a new strain combining human, pig, and bird flu genes. It quickly spread to over 200 countries, infecting around 1.4 billion people. Though relatively mild, it killed an estimated 151,575 people, mostly younger adults. The World Health Organization (WHO) declared it a pandemic in June 2009. It marked the first global flu pandemic of the 21st century and led to massive stockpiling of vaccines. The COVID-19. In December 2019, a novel coronavirus emerged in Wuhan, China. Within weeks, cases appeared in Thailand, Italy, Iran, and the United States. By March 2020, the WHO declared a global pandemic. Countries went into lockdown, borders closed. COVID-19 infected over 700 million people and caused over 7 million deaths, though some estimates suggest the real toll could be higher. An Italian woman told the BBC, "I lost both my parents in 1 week. I couldn't even hold their hands." Vaccines were developed in under a year, a scientific breakthrough. The pandemic transformed economies, education, work, and even the way we communicate. It's the most digitally documented pandemic in history. Hey, before you go, check our breakdown of every supervolcano on Earth. It's a deep dive into some of the most powerful natural threats, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.